Have you ever stopped to think how our Earth stays? You know just right. Not a frozen wasteland, but not a scorching desert either. It's all because of this incredible natural process. And today, we're going to get right into it. You know that feeling, right? The sun on your skin on a nice day, it feels great. But the way our planet actually holds onto that heat to keep us all cozy, well, it might just surprise you. It's definitely not as simple as you think. Okay, so first up, let's talk about the common misconception because honestly, once you get why this is wrong, the whole rest of it just clicks into place. So, the idea most of us have is pretty simple. The sun's rays shoot down, hit our atmosphere, and boom! The air just heats up. I mean, it makes perfect sense, right? But that's not actually what's happening. Alright? So, if the sun isn't directly cooking our air, then what is? Here's where the real story begins, and it's actually pretty cool. The secret ingredient here is something called infrared radiation. So, picture this. The sun's ray hits the ground, right? The land and the oceans, they soak it all up. Kind of like a black t-shirt on a sunny day. Then, the earth releases that energy back up as heat. So, get this. It's the ground, the very planet beneath our feet that's heating the air around us. The real heater isn't way up in the sky. It's right down here. Crazy, right? And that whole process leads us to the main event, the greenhouse effect. It's just the natural way certain gases in our atmosphere catch some of that heat rising from the ground and keep it up from just escaping out into space. So, let's do a quick recap. It's a four-step dance. 1. Sunlight hits the earth. 2. The ground soaks it up. 3. The ground sends the heat back up. And 4. These special gases trap some of that heat. See, simple. So, what are these gases that are so good at trapping heat? Well, the best way to think about them is like a giant visible blanket wrapped around the planet. Let's meet the main players. Really, just picture a giant cozy blanket, or as we'd say, come out. That's what this is. Without this planetary commode, the Earth would just be a ball of ice. This is absolutely crucial for you as being alive. Now, the two biggest components of this blanket are first water vapor, which is really just water in gas form, and of course, the one everyone's heard of, carbon dioxide or CO2. Okay, so a very important question is where do all these blanket gases come from? Well, they actually come from two totally different kinds of sources. On one side, you've got our natural resources. This is just the earth doing its thing, part of its normal cycle. But on the other side, you have human activities. These are the things that we do that add extra gases into the air. Let's talk natural first. Every time you breathe out, you're releasing carbon dioxide. When plants and animals decompose, that releases gases. Even volcanoes and oceans are constantly releasing these gases. This is all perfectly normal. It's how the planet works. But then there's our contribution. Burning fossil fuels for electricity and cars, clearing away huge forests that are supposed to absorb carbon dioxide, even making cement for buildings. All of these things pump up massive amounts of extra greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. Look, a blanket is good thing, right? It keeps you warm. But what happens if you just keep piling on more and more blankets? You'd get away too hot. And that is basically the problem we're talking about here. This overheating problem has a name: global warming. It's what happens when our planetary commode gets too thick. It traps too much heat and the entire planet's average temperature starts to rise. And a warmer planet leads to some pretty serious consequences. Number one, as the Earth heats up, the massive ice sheets at the North and South poles, they start to melt. Now, all that water from the melting ice has to go somewhere, right? It goes right into our oceans. And what happens then? Sea levels all over the world begin to rise, which is a huge deal, especially for island nations. And finally, all of its extra heat and energy trapped into our atmosphere. It's like fuel for the weather. It can lead to more intense storms, longer droughts, and crazier heat waves. So, at the end of the day, it all comes back to that invisible blanket. It's the very thing that makes life on this beautiful planet possible. But that leaves us with a big question. What happens when our natural blanket gets too thick?